Welcome back, everyone. We're here for another Lost Caverns of Ixalan limited set review. Yanks is on the call. We're going to be rating each of the green cards today and giving them a rating between 1 and 5, based on how we feel they will play in the average limited deck, sealed and draft. If you guys missed our introduction to the Lost Caverns of Ixalan, check that out. We go over new and returning mechanics as well as all the draftable archetypes. So, Yanks, welcome back.
Good to be back. We got, red was our last color, and that was pretty strong, it seemed. We'll see if green can pair up with it well in that dinosaur deck.
All right, let's see if we can meet our goal of 1 hour. Armored Kincaller, 3 mana for a 3/3. Enters the battlefield. You may reveal a dinosaur card from your hand. If you do, or if you control another dinosaur, gain 3 life. That's nice. I mean, it's a fine rate on its own. It's a relevant creature type, which is good. Lots of bonuses for having more dinosaurs. And then you just get a nice little bonus life if you can manage it. I think that's fine.
Yeah, card's fine. We're at the point where 3 mana 3/3 almost seems underrate with how powerful things are getting.
Well, not very underwhelming.
Yeah. I mean, we got, a 3 mana 4/3 in red?
That did some stuff, yeah, but
yeah,
I mean, those are uncommons and stuff, so this is still fine and a relevant creature type. So I think I don't like the life gain that much, so I'm still saying that this is like more fringe playable, but this feels like the new 2 to me.
Yeah, I've got this as a 2.
All right, moving on. Basking Capybara. I should edit in the sound. Capybara, 2 mana for a 1/3. Descend 4. It gets +3/+0 as long as there are 4 or more permanents in your graveyard. That seems great for a 2-drop. It turns itself mid to late game into a 4/3.
Yeah, 2 drops that actually do something later in the game are nice. This attacks pretty well. Can be a blocker early if you need one. There's nothing not to like about this card.
I like that we have a capybara, but I don't like that this is not a dinosaur. Like, it just looks like a dinosaur.
Yeah. I mean, I know capybaras are the largest rodent in the world, but I'm surprised they're quite this big.
Yeah. So, rating-wise, I think that this is good. I think this is like a 2.5 for me.
Yeah, it's a little bit better than the last card we just saw, so yeah, I like it a 2.5.
Bedrock Tortoise. Oh, it's cool. It's got like a whole freaking temple on its back. Yep. That's neat. 3 mana for an 0/6. As long as it is your turn, creatures you control have hexproof. Each creature you control with toughness greater than its power assigns damage equal to its toughness rather than its power. So this just hits like a truck and gives all your creatures hexproof, which is cool. I think this card's great.
This card's very good. I kind of hate the damage clause. Like, why not? Why can't we just say all your creatures deal damage equal toughness, and make you actually have to build around it instead of just giving you all upside?
Because it's a turtle.
I don't know. It's just a design thing for me. It's like you just make people actually have to try to get value out of things instead of just slamming it in your face.
I look forward to slamming this in your face. It's a turtle.
Card's very good.
It's fine. I love turtles. I collect them. Yeah, I think this card is awesome. I'm really excited for it. Having hexproof on your turn, super relevant. Stops them from shocking to finish off creatures in combat, things like that. Rating wise, trying to stifle a yawn there. Probably not a 4, but this feels still strong. This feels like a 3.5, maybe a 4. Hexproof on your turn is good, but most removal, they could just do it on their turn.
Yeah, I think it's a 3.5. I think I might give it a 4, except out of spite for its design and for the word hexproof, which is evil. It's a 3.5.
We did see quite a bit of 1/3s.
Yep.
There's maybe it is closer to a 4. We did see some booty in this set, so maybe it's a little higher than I'm giving it credit for. And it is, honestly, it's a 4 mana 6/6. It's a 4. I'm giving it a 4.
Yeah, I would too, just out of spite I won't.
Okay, well, you can be spiteful. Cavern Stomper, 6 mana for a 7/7. When it ETBs, scry 2, you can pay 4. Creatures can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Nice. So 7/7 just becomes unchumpable. And 6 mana for a 7/7 that like draws you a card, kind of. I'm okay with this card as a top end if you didn't find anything better. It's probably just a 2 though.
I miss Colossal Dreadmaw. This card's better, but I miss Colossal Dreadmaw.
Well, didn't they print a new version?
Probably.
I think Colossal Dreadmaw is in this as a rare or something.
There's I think Earthshaker Dreadmaw, which is just a strictly better Colossal Dreadmaw.
Yeah, it's the mommy.
I mean, this is kind of strictly better too. It's 7. Well, it doesn't have trample, so it's not. But
and there was the removal card that showed the Dreadmaw as well.
Yeah.
Cenote Scout, 1 mana for a 1/1 when it enters the battlefield. Explore. So there's a 1 mana 2/2 or a 1 mana get a free land draw. Yes, please. This is very solid. It probably has a relevant creature type. I didn't see a lot of merfolk stuff in blue, so I'm so far more excited about dinosaurs than merfolk, but rating wise, I still think that this is very solid. Probably I'm not that excited about 1 mana 2/2s, but they're fine. This is like a 3. I'm not cutting these.
Yeah, I think I'm a little lower. I'm at 2/5, but I'm also probably not cutting it. And I think you're right. I think the only merfolk thing we saw in blue that actually cares about it is the enchantment that makes 1/1 merfolk tokens whenever you tap a non-token merfolk.
All right, 3 mana for a 3/2 raccoon with Descend 4. Enters the battlefield. If there are 4 or more permanent cards in your graveyard, return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. So it's a fine rate on its own, and then it's card advantage in the mid to late game. Yes, this is great.
Yeah, it's a conditional Gravedigger that's cheaper and can get any permanent instead of just a creature, and it's bigger.
This is very good. What do you think in rating wise?
I think I have this at a 3.
Yeah, I was debating giving it a little bit higher just because it is kind of a card advantage, but I think if it was a dinosaur or a merfolk, I certainly would.
Yeah, I think the size, the fact that it's decently sized for this type of card is kind of negated by the fact that you're going to want to play it later anyway.
Yeah.
So the 3/2 body won't matter as much.
All right. I can get on with on board with a 3. A Colossadactyl. 4 mana for a 4/5 with reach and trample. That's a rate. What the heck? Man.
Sure.
Do you remember when we were getting like this exact mana cost, 2 green for a vanilla 4/4, and we were just like, yeah, let's go. That's some aggressive shit. Nope.
This is vanilla nowadays. Like just 2 keywords instead of 4 lines of text.
This is nutty. I don't even know how to go about evaluating this kind of stuff anymore. Like, it's so far off of what we started.
Yeah.
I want to say this is like a 3.5, but I don't even know anymore.
Yeah, I agree. And it's almost getting to the point where I feel like nothing can be actually a good rating if it doesn't provide automatic card advantage. Which is not true, right? Because, this can just win the game as well. But that's starting to be what it feels like, that, stats are just so prevalent everywhere.
Yeah. So rating, it's like a 3 or a 3/5. I'm really not sure anymore with this power creep, man. It's getting crazy. What do you think rating wise?
It's probably a 3/5 given that it's a dinosaur.
Yeah.
I'll give that the benefit of the doubt, the tiebreaker.
Cosmium Confluence, 5 mana for choose 3. You may choose the same mode more than once. Search your library for a cave card, put that onto the battlefield tapped and shuffle. So some ramp, probably don't care about the caves. Put 3 +1/+1 counters on a cave you control. It becomes an elemental. And destroy target enchantment. There are some enchantments Oh, I could not get that one to go away.
Yeah, I don't like this card at all. I mean, you might have enough caves to want to run this, but if you don't, like, this is just not good.
Yeah. And even if you do, like you grab 2 caves, turn 1 into a thing, grab 1 cave, turn 2 into a things. Destroy enchantment's nice, but kind of situational. So you have to have the caves in the deck if you're gonna main deck this. So I'm not really interested in this, and the caves deck hasn't seemed like it will be rewarded in any way with like 1 mediocre cave card per color. Seems pretty not fantastic.
Yeah, I guess if you
Old Wolf is saying
yeah.
a 5 mana 9/9.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, you just pay 5 mana. You have to have the cave in play already, or it's a 5 mana 6/6.
Which the 6/6 part sounds great, except we just saw a 6 mana 7/7 scry 2 with no conditions attached to it. Like
Yeah, there was the 6 mana 7/6. Yeah.
yeah.
I do think this is a little underwhelming.
If you have like 3 caves, you probably put this in your deck, but you're not super excited about it.
Yeah, and I am not incentivized to do that really. Most of the caves that are rare also flip back into their creature side or their whatever side, and those are just more valuable also. So you don't get paid off there either.
I will say at least the god cycle that all flips back, that none of those are caves. Those are all just temples.
Yeah, the god ones, yeah. So rating wise, that last card is probably, I mean, the average deck's just not going to want it. It's a 1.
It's like split, but not high enough to be bothered with the split.
Agreed.
Like it's like a 1/5, depending on how. We do need to see how prevalent caves are.
Disturbed Slumber, 2 mana for an instant. Until end of turn, target land you control becomes a 4/4 dinosaur creature with reach and haste. Hammy. He does not like this card. It's still a land. It must be blocked if able. It's an instant. I like that it like forces them to lose their creature. I've had that be super valuable in some formats. I don't know how I like it here. It's an okay combat trick, but in green, most of my stuff's gonna be 4/4s anyway. So
yeah, I mean this is like literal sneaky reach. Like they literally can't see it coming. Which is nice, but yeah, these like we talked about this in, was it blue that had one of these cards where it's like lately they've been giving us something else with it,
like card draw or something. This one is a little bit nicer because that one was like a creature. This hits this is a land, so you're far more likely to lethal someone with this because it's an additional attacker or additional blocker that they're not expecting. Not just changing a 2/2 into a 4/3 like the blue one. So this does feel better to me, but not by a ton. I think that this is just a combat trick. I'm going to put it in at a 2.
A 2, yeah.
Moving on. Earthshaker Dreadmaw, Mamima, 6 mana for a 6/6 with trample. When it enters the battlefield, draw a card for each other dinosaur you control, which is at least 1. So yes.
Each other.
Oh, no. Sad. Mamima, why? I'm going to say you're going to average 1 card with this, though.
Yeah, you should be. By turn 6 or 7, whenever you're playing this in a green deck, yeah, you probably are. And if you don't, you've just got a Colossal Dreadmaw, which is playable.
This looks bigger than the Dreadmaw.
It's got good flavor text, too. I suggest we leave this cavern for someone else to conquer. It is uncommon, too, which Colossal Dreadmaw was usually uncommon.
Yeah, this seems good. I'm going to say that this is... I like card draw, and there's a lot of dinosaurs, so...
It's like a 3.
Yeah, I want to give it a 3, but it feels like, considering we've seen such powerful cards, it feels like it might even be a 2/5, honestly. But, if you got some dinosaurs, then I'm happy to give this a 3.
Yep.
Explorer's Cache, 2 mana for an artifact. Enters the battlefield with 2 counters, 2+1/+1 counters on it. Whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it dies, put a +1/+1 counter on the cache. You can tap to move a +1/+1 counter from the cache onto target creature, activate as a sorcery. So it automatically comes with two counters that you can move back and forth, and you're never punished because when that creature dies, it goes back on, unless it's bounced, I guess. And then creatures that get +1/+1 counters from other means also can pump up your cache. So that's a cool mechanic. And there is supposedly like a buffs matter deck, although I haven't seen payoffs for that.
Yeah, it's the Celestia deck, and you're right. We didn't see a lot of it in white, and we've seen from the intro video, the preview card is a payoff, or the signpost card is a payoff for that, but there haven't been many.
Yeah, so I mean, I still think this is a cool value card, but it's going to depend on how slow the format is if you actually can get the uses out of this. So for me, I'm going to say that this is just a 2.
Yeah, it is an artifact, which are probably going to be
True.
relatively few and far between in green, other than maybe map tokens.
But you might not want them unless you're in red or white
Agreed.
or something.
Yeah, you might not. But if you have if you want some artifacts and you're in green, this is nice. It's cute with that Cosmium Confluence. If you do make a 9/9 and it dies, now you've got 9 counters on here to move around.
True.
Oh no, I take it back. You only get 1. Ignore me. You don't get all the counters. You just get 1.
Oh, interesting. Rating wise, you like it at a 2?
A 2, yeah.
All right, Gulta, Stampede Tyrant. A lot of mana. 5, 7, 8 of it for a 12/12 Elder Dinosaur. When it enters the battlefield, put any number of creature cards from your hand onto the battlefield. Thundering Roar calls forth a primeval army. I mean, it's 8 mana is a lot. And I feel like by the time you get to 8 mana, you don't have creatures left because this was the last thing in your hand.
Unless you just refilled your hand with Mommy Dreadmaw.
So you go Mommy Dreadmaw and this thing, and then you kill them. I mean,
you've got a 6/6 triple and a 12/12 triple. I think everything else is win more at that point. Anyway.
I'm fine with Christmas Land. I'm still running this, but I don't think it's as fantastical as it could be for like a constructed situation.
No, just like, but why are we getting 24 power and toughness for 8? Like that's ludicrous. Like
24.
12/12, 24 total power and toughness.
Oh, I see.
Combined. Like usually like it's times 2, right? 6 for 6/6 or a 5/7 for 12, and you get this should cost like 12 or 11 if you want to make it because it's a mythic. It should not cost 8.
Oh my gosh. Cry more, Yanks. It's a stampeding Gulta dinosaur. Gulta's gonna be ginormous. How big was Gulta last time?
I don't have a problem with the size. I have a problem with the mana cost.
And Gulta was cheap. It was the thing that you could put in for 2 green, isn't it?
Yeah, but it did cost 12.
Yeah, but it didn't cost 12. It just cost 2.
Well, yes.
You're okay with cheating it into play. So if we make this cost 12, but you could just you could just pay green instead, and you're okay with that?
If you actually had to do work, like that's the thing you need to.
You just talked about having Mommy Dinosaur on here. If you have Mommy Dinosaur with the same clause as Gulta, this is cheap.
Unless they kill the dinosaur.
Oh my gosh.
Like I want them to stop just handing everyone here 4 free cards of value on every card.
This is just 1 card of value.
Well, it might not be. It might be like 6, depending what's in your hand.
Also, you are like a blue value player, and I've seen your legacy deck. It is just 4 cards stapled onto everything.
It's not, though, because almost none of those cards provide card advantage. They all provide card selection. Ponder, Brainstorm, Preordain, they're all card neutral.
Yanks is I will have all the fun, and I will complain about all the dinosaurs for no damn reason. So what do you want to rate this card, Yanks, before we spend another 5 minutes complaining about this 8-drop? That's triple green.
Can we power creep our rating scale? Like make this like a 6? Is that what we're gonna have to do? No, this is like a 4.
This is not a 6.
No, it's not. I know.
It's a 12/12 with trample, but if it gets removed, it doesn't really do anything after that. I don't think the rest of this text box says anything, honestly. So rating wise, yeah, I think this is probably, if they can't kill it, it's going to kill them. So we'll say it's a 4.
It's a 4. I mean, we did see a decent amount of treasure making in red, so this could come out sooner.
I can't wait for someone to play this, and I'm just like, I have a shock. Not gonna cut it. Glimpse the Core, 2 mana for a choose 1. Search your library for a basic forest card, put it onto the battlefield tapped and shuffle, or return target cave card from your graveyard to the battlefield. I don't like that this only finds a forest. I'm gonna say this is good for like a ramping situation, but most of the time I think you'll have better. So not my cup of tea, probably just a 1.5.
Yeah, that sounds right to me. It's just kind of mediocre ramp.
Glowcap Lantern, 1 mana for equipped creature has. You may look at the top card of your library anytime, and whenever this creature attacks, it explores. That's cute. Exploring every turn is pretty valuable. There's some explore payoffs, I think, in the format. Artifact payoffs here. So having, I think, some of these equipment is actually going to be beneficial just outside of what they do. So I'm pretty happy for that. Rating-wise, I think this is playable. I think this is... I'm a fan of Explorer. I think this is like maybe a 2.5.
I generally like Explorer. I don't like paying 2 to equip an artifact that gives no equipment that gives no stats.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea is that you can look at the top and you can like make it get stats, and over time it gets more and more stats, and then you can move that to another creature. So, and then you get more on that creature. So it's sort of like the long grind.
Yeah.
You get that back in spades, but you don't get the initial benefit. And then the Explorer triggers, the artifact. So that's what it is for me.
Yeah, I don't think it's unplayable. But I'm a little lower. I've got it as a 2.
Growing Rights, 3 mana for legendary enchantment. When it ETBs, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them. Put that into your hand. Put the rest in the bottom in a random order. At the beginning of your end step, if you control 4 or more creatures, transform it into the Cradle of the Sun, a legendary land that taps for a green and taps for a green for each creature you control. Huh.
It's a reprint from original Ixalan.
I like the little mushrooms. They're so cute.
Transforms into a better Gaia's Cradle.
Which will really help you cast Galta.
Yeah, you play this on 3, somehow you have 4 creatures out, and you untap on turn 4 and play Galta.
So rating-wise, I think that this is...
I think this reasonably is just like a 1.
I mean, I think in the Dinosaur deck, there's going to be enough decks where my deck is like 16 creatures, 18 creatures, and a Galta on top. I'm probably running this.
Yeah, there might be the occasional deck, but I feel like it, and again, it's a different format, but I don't remember this card ever seeing limited play in original Ixalan, and it had like the big dinosaur deck.
Yeah.
But that format might have just been too fast, and this one, who knows, maybe this is slower.
I think this is a 1, but I think this will see some play in one deck only.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's like with double dread mommy, and like, you know what I mean? That kind of situation where I'm just like, yeah, I will probably, even after I get to 4 creatures on board, probably want to produce like 4 or 5 mana. I went backwards, my bad. Okay, moving on. We have Hultai's Final Strike, 3 mana for a instant. Creature gets +1/+0 until end of turn. It deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. This is a punch.
Yep.
At instant speed, that also buffs. This is pretty premium removal for green.
Yeah, this is, this is what we've kind of come to expect from green's removal nowadays.
Yeah. The last set was pretty weird. They like went back to Hunt the Weak.
Last set was
not
weak.
Quite, but not good. So rating wise, I never want to give these 4. Even though this is green's premium, because you can get 2 for 1 if you're not careful. So I think this is a 3.5.
Agreed. Yeah, 3.5 seems good to me.
Hultai, Poet of Unity.
It's Huatli.
Huatli, Poet of Unity. 3 mana for a 2/3 human warrior bard. Poet of Unity enters the battlefield. Search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Yay. Also, you can pay 3 Boros and exile Huatli and return her to the battlefield transformed. Activate as a sorcery. And she comes in as a saga. Roar of the Fifth People? Fifth People.
Fifth, yeah.
Chapter 1, you get to make a dinosaur. It's a 3/3 green dinosaur.
Two of them.
Two of them, in fact. Chapter 2 gains creatures you control have tap, add mana.
For Naya, yeah, which is the original dinosaur colors from Ixalan.
But it says that it's not till end of turn. Like, this saga gains it. That's an interesting thing I've never seen on a saga.
So it's Urza's Saga. The card does that, where like chapter 2 is you pay 2 to tap it and create a construct, and then it keeps that ability until it eventually goes away.
That's some constructed shit in limited. My sagas don't do that.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Lets you do some Naya stuff. And then you can search your library for a dinosaur card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Card advantage. Dinosaurs you control gain double strike and trample until end of turn. And then it dies?
Yep.
Oh. It doesn't flip back into a dude?
No, it's not a god.
I mean, it's very good, but like...
Just a poet.
You get a land on the front side. This is a lot of value, right?
Yeah.
Actually, there's no reason. You get 2 3/3s immediately, so there's no reason you wouldn't want to flip this. Okay, yeah, this is good.
Yeah, 2 3/3s. The second one may or may not be relevant. I mean, you already have 5 mana to flip this, but you could multiple. You could, if you spent 5 mana to flip this, you might have a couple cards in hand, so you can multi-spell with that.
So you get a land, you get 2 dinosaurs, 6 powers with the creatures, you get a little ramp, which I'm not going to include, you get any dinosaur out of your deck, and then you get to alpha kill them with all of the value that you have acquired.
Yeah, and giving dinosaurs double strike and trample should end the game, as long as you've got a couple.
Well, you have 2. Like, they just...
Yeah, I mean, as long as you still
12 damage, yeah. So rating-wise, I think that this is very strong. It makes you jump through some hoops. It's like slow incremental value, but it can win the game.
Yeah, it's expensive, right? It costs 8 mana to do all that, but you're getting a decent amount for that.
I like that you can also just play it on 3, and it helps get you into your 5 mana that you need faster. So just playing this on 3 is fine. It might not make it, but that's okay. And then, you just slam it sideways when you can, but you do need to be in these colors. It's not just green. So rating-wise, I think it's very good. It is slow. I think if left to do the whole shebang, you're going to win the game. So that, to me, is like a 4 or a 4.5.
Yeah, I think it was a 4, just because you're right on. You need to be in at least 2 of 3 colors to be in green and either red or white. Now, granted, you can get one of the 2 colored mana. You need to flip it with Watley. But so I like it. I like it as a 4.
I mean, it's like a multicolor card, right? We're just going to rate this as a multicolor card, and it's flexible in which multicolor it's going to make you be in. So I think that's fine. Yeah, I like it. It's a lot of dang value, honestly. Land plus 2/6/6, and if that's all you get, I think I'm on board with that. So I want to give it a 4.5, but
there is the risk, right? Because this is at sorcery speed of you play 3 mana for a 2/3, get a land, and then pay another 5, and this gets bolted in response. And you spend 8 mana for a 2/3 and a land.
Yeah.
So there is some risk there.
Yeah. But card advantage wise, that's okay. You wasted a turn, but it doesn't really hurt you for the cards because you got a land out of it and you ate their bolt. So that's still probably not a bad day. Hulking Raptor, 4 mana for a 5/3 with Ward 2. At the beginning of your pre-combat main phase, add 2 forests. See, you got your wish. Galta's going to be cheaper.
Yeah.
This is a really big creature. It's got no butt, which is weird because they have no arms. So I don't understand where this, where nature went wrong here. But he's got the chomps. So If they don't have a blocker, here we are. It doesn't have trample, which is weird. Just going to get eaten by like their 3-drop, or at this point their 2-drop. Who knows?
Yeah.
But I like that you get some extra mana each turn. Lets you ramp into some good stuff. On turn 5, you can play a 7-drop or just dump 2 big things. That's fine. Rating wise, this is underwhelming for a rare, but very playable. I'm not cutting this card.
Yeah, exactly. It does kind of. It could be like one of those with the shorter arms. One of the boxing kangaroos.
Rating wise, I like the mana and the ward, so I'm going to say this is a 3.5.
Yeah, I like it at 3.5.
It dies easily, but maybe you don't attack. Maybe you just ramp into all your other stuff and make them block that.
Yeah, and it's hard to kill with the ward too.
In the Presence of Ages, 3 mana for an instant. Reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature and or a land card from among them. Put them into your hand. Put the rest into the graveyard. So it's going to fuel your Fathom stuffs, and it's kind of a 2-for-1. Like, I don't hate this.
Yeah, I feel like this is another one of those types of cards that just always ends up getting cut.
Cards are getting so good these days.
Yeah, and this feels really bad if you miss, like, creature.
Yeah.
On that.
Rating-wise...
Not a bit.
Go ahead.
I would say not as bad as in other sets, because you do at least get some of the descend value.
Yeah. Rating-wise, I think this is a good card. I like it when you're splashing. I like it when you have, like, 2 high-quality cards in your deck that you want to start digging for, because 4 is pretty solid. I like it when you have expensive creatures. This is going to help get you into... those creatures, help you get 5th and 6th land drops, while also replacing itself ideally with another creature. So that is kind of a win-win situation. So I'm looking to play this in big green, especially big green splash. I think this is very playable. I'm going to give it a 2.
I think it's a 2. I think the card is fine, and yet I think the over-under on number of times I cast this card is 1 in this format, because I just feel like it's always going to get cut for something better.
I would probably say I'm under 5, but I feel like it's the kind of card I'm supposed to be playing more.
It's hard nowadays. Like 3 mana to not affect the board is tough nowadays.
All right. Next, we have a Paleontologist for 2 mana. It's a 2/2 that can tap and add a mana of any color. You can pay to exile target card from your graveyard. You may cast Dinosaur creature spells from among the cards you exiled with this Paleontologist. You may cast a spell this way. A creature enters the battlefield with a finality counter on it. This card is fantastic.
It just does a lot. It's a bear. It is a mana dork.
It fixes.
It fixes.
Card advantages.
Card advantage. If you don't have anything you want to exile, it can just pick out stuff from their graveyard to prevent them from crafting later or removed. Like, this is an instant speed way to get rid of something with Descend 4. To lose that ability.
Yeah, because you can exile stuff from their graveyard. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And it doesn't tap to exile, so you can use her mana ability to exile a dinosaur and then still play it. Helps pad the cost of that exile mechanic. This is everything I want in a Magic card. This is how I want to play Magic. I don't want big dragons and game-ending bombs. I just want this and cute 4-drop dragons or dinosaurs. All day. Rating-wise, I think this is very strong. I think this can win games, and it's going to ramp you and get you into those games. It's going to fix you. This is a 4 for me.
I think I have it as a 3/5 because I think it probably only really wins games in the dinosaur deck, where you're getting that value out of it. It's still very good in the others, but not as good.
I still like the ramp and fixing. I like getting rid of all of their fathomless descents. And I feel like every green deck will have some number of dinosaurs. So though you might not have a billion options, I think you will have some.
Yep.
All right. Ixali's Lore Keeper, 1 mana for a 1/1. You can tap, add 1 mana of any color. Spend this to mana to cast a dinosaur spell or activate a dinosaur ability. This is fine if you're in the dino deck and not really anywhere else. So split rating. This is a 1 and honestly a 3 in the Gruul deck.
Yeah, so exactly. Let you 1 mana, accelerant in that deck is great.
Jade Seed Stones, 4 mana for an artifact. When it enters the battlefield, distribute 3 1/1 counters among 2 or 3, 1, 2, or 3 creatures you control. You can craft it with a creature, pay 7, you flip it, turns into a 7/7. When it enters the battlefield, gain life equal to the mana value of exiled cards used to craft it. I don't mind that you can exile with creatures in your graveyard. Green doesn't seem to care about Fathomless Descent, so I'm not worried about keeping those in there. And 4 mana for the 3 distributed counters and an artifact that you can use on the battlefield if you need it. I think this card is playable, but it's a little expensive.
Yeah, I think if you have the synergies for this, you'll know it, you'll play it. Otherwise, it's probably just a 2.
I think this is a card that it's a 2, but we'll see play a little bit more than the average 2. Like, this is closer to a 2.5 for me. I'm going to give it a 2.5 because I don't think I'm cutting one of these. I really like it.
Oh, at 4 mana, I think I can cut this. Unless I'm in green-white wanting the buffs.
I think the format's going to be a little bit slower, so I think I'm overpaying for the buff for the ability to then make a 7/7, right? Like having both of those things stapled onto one card over the length of a full game, to me, has a lot of value.
Yeah.
Jade Light Spelunker, X green for a Merfolk Scout. When it enters the battlefield, explore X times. Yes? Yes, please.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of card you want in your, nominal cheap spells, because you can just play this on turn 2 if you really need a 2-drop. But if you draw it on turn 8, it's still really good.
Yep. Dump all your mana into it, get all the lands out of the way, dig real deep for your bombs, or just keep the first permanent on top and make it 8/8 or whatever. So this is great. I think this is a card that scales extremely well and can offer you some card advantage and fuel your Descendants, Fathoms, whatever. Yeah, it can fuel your mechanics. Rating wise, I don't think I'm ever cutting this. It's a relevant creature type and it scales super well. I'm gonna say it's a 3. I want to give it higher, but I don't think it does enough.
I think I'm a lot higher on this card. I'm tempted to give it a 4, but I'll give it a 3/5. Just because you get all your value up front, right? Like, as long as you're not playing it for 0 or 1, you're going to get enough that even if they turn around and kill it, you've still gotten, basically a lot of scries and potentially card lands off the top of your deck.
Yeah, but if the card on top is a medium playable and you're like, well, I don't really want to bin this. Like, it's better than a blank draw next. And so you just make, make this a 4/4 or a 5/5 and they kill it.
Yeah. A lot of that's going to depend on what your X is, right? It is weird if it's like X equals 2 or 3 and you have a medium card on top. So yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it's a little lower. If your X is much higher, I'm just taking the risk and binning it.
I'm trying to average all of those kind of things together and just kind of seeing what I get. And in my head, some number of times this has to come down on turn 2 or 3, like you were saying, and you just keep a medium card, or it comes down on 2 or 3, you get a land off the top and you get 1 counter. And now you have what is that? 3 mana? Yeah, 3 mana, 2/2 that drew you a land, which is still fine, but it's certainly not a 4. I don't know. I like it.
I think it's the fact that it can be all of those things is what.
Yeah, I like it as a high 3.
Yeah, I ended up at 3/5.
Close. Caslim's Stone Tree, 3 mana for an artifact. When it enters the battlefield, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may put a land card from among them onto the battlefield, tapped, put the rest onto the bottom in a random order. You can craft with a cave, interesting, for 6 mana, and it turns into a vanilla 5/5.
I'm not particularly interested in this. It can brick at the start, which feels really bad, and you just might not have enough caves, or they might be, even if you have 3, they might be so far down your deck, this is just useless.
Honestly, the other thing too is even if it doesn't brick, it's still not a great rate.
No, you're still paying 9 mana for a land and a 5/5.
Well, I'm saying even if you don't brick and you don't have a cave, it's still like 3 land for a land, like for 1
Oh,
ramp.
yeah.
Like, it's not nothing to be excited about. I don't think this is like a 1.5.
Yep. Agreed. Maybe if you really want the artifact.
Or
And
if
have,
you
like,
really
7
want your
caves.
splash, because 6 deep is decent for finding splashes. Malamet Battleglyph. 1 mana for a sorcery. Choose target creature you control. Target creature you don't control. If the creature you control entered the battlefield this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Then those creatures fight each other. This is cheap, but only sorcery speed. If it comes into play that turn, you get a counter. That's cute. Yeah, it's like a 3.5.
Probably. Yeah, it's good. I feel like I want to make it lower than the punch spell, though.
This is definitely worse, but I mean,
I don't know if it's Is it a full half point worse? Maybe not.
It's like that's a high 3.5 and this is a low 3.5, so they are like a half point separate, but like
that's fine.
It's icky. The Malamet Brawler. It's a cat warrior for 2/2 for 2. When it attacks, target attacking creature gains trample until end of turn.
It's like these are the type of cards I think now are like 1/5s.
Yeah, because if this 2/2 is attacking, that means you have something big enough attacking that actually wants trample, which means this thing is probably getting eaten.
Yeah.
So it's just a bear. The text box is like a bonus if you're really far ahead. And it's fine. This is a 1.5. I agree. These things don't cut it anymore. Bears are no longer 2s.
Yeah, with a mediocre ability and no relevant creature type.
Yep. Malamet Scythe, 3 mana for an equipment with flash. When it enters the battlefield, attach it to a creature you control. Equip creature gets +2/+2, and equip 4. Equip 4 is a little expensive, but in my head, I'm looking at this as the front half of this is a slightly expensive combat trick that leaves around some decent stats.
Yeah, you have to view this as a trick, not as an equipment.
And I'm okay with that. I think that is a thing that will make the cut in some decks when you're a little light. So not great, but I'm going to give it a 2.
A 2 is fine.
All right, there's a lot of Malamets. God, please don't let me play anything competitive where I have to verify these decks. Malamet Veteran, 5 mana for a 5/4 cat warrior with trample with descend 4. When it attacks, if there are 4 or more permanents in your graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. It's permanent. Yes, this is good. I like this cat warrior. And it's got trample on its own, so it can just buff itself, and that feels really good. Rating-wise, this is solid. I'm probably not cutting this. This feels like a 3 for me.
Yeah, I like it at 3. It's just a good card. There's nothing spectacular about it.
Mine Shaft Spider. 4 mana for a 3/4 with reach. Enters the battlefield. You may mill 2 cards. It's a may, so great. You can do it if you want. If not, it's got some booty.
This feels very underwhelming.
It feels fillery to me. I think this is a 2.
Yeah, I think it's a 2, and I feel like I'm end up cutting this a lot. Just because 4 mana tends to get clogged.
Nurturing Bristleback. 7 mana for a 5/5 dino that says enters the battlefield, create a 3/3 dino, and it also has forest cycling. This is, I think, the second best of the bunch. Maybe the flying one was pretty good, but I do like this one a lot. That's some good stats.
I mean, I think the best one before this was the trample red one, right?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was saying that I think this is the second best, and then I was like, well, I did like the flyer one.
Oh, I got you.
So they're fighting for second place.
Yeah, I got you.
Certainly not first. I really liked that red one. Was so good.
Yeah, I mean, you're getting 8/8 for 7 over 2 bodies, but by the time you're playing a 7 drop, a 3/3 body probably doesn't mean that much.
It depends. Like there's all the mommy colossal dreadmaw.
Sure. Yeah, it's not nothing. But it's one of those where I'd almost rather have this just be an 8/8.
I don't think I'd rather have this be an 8/8. I feel like if I'm not playing against green, 5/5 is going to be the biggest thing on the board. And they're going to be chumping it anyway. And I think I'd rather have it split across 2 bodies, especially when there are so many things that say draw cards for dinosaurs. Each dinosaur gets X. There's a green-white archetype that buffs and puts counters.
Yeah, that seems pretty bad. That
So
archetype.
rating wise, I think this is still very good. I'm going to give it a
Yeah,
3.
it's a 3.
And it is interesting. Again, we see something slightly different in our preferences. You would rather this as an 8/8. I would rather it as the 2 bodies. So
Yep.
just a unique thing. I'll be excited to see how this plays out. O'Hare, something, something. 5 mana for a 6/5 with trample. It's a god. When it deals combat damage to a player, reveal that many cards from the top of your library. You may put a creature card and or a land card from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest onto the bottom of the library in a random order. When it dies, return it to the battlefield transformed, and it becomes the Temple of Cultivation. It's beautiful art. You can tap for a green. You can also pay 3, transform it. Activate only if you have 10 or more permanents and only as a sorcery, which is fine because this thing costs 5 mana and it itself is a permanent. So that's 6 mana or 6 permanents. So you probably have 4. That's fine.
Yeah, it shouldn't be that hard to get to that. And also, green probably doesn't mind having the extra land around. We just saw a 7-drop and things like that. So,
and it's tramples. So maybe they kill it with their 5/5, but you still got to flip the cards and do the thing.
You might have gotten something, yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. I think this is great. I think this, because it comes back again, I'm willing to give this a 5.
I am too, and I do like the callback on the back side of the card, the 10 or more permanents to the original Ixalan with Ascend or Rivals of Ixalan. It was, you got the city's blessing if you had 10 or more permanents.
Yeah, I think this is the weaker of the 4 gods, but they're all 5s, and then the red god is obviously the poop master. But I think they're, of the 4 5s, this is maybe the weaker of the 2, just because.
So there was no. I thought there was one color that didn't have it, but maybe I'm missing something.
I think they all did.
Yeah, maybe they all did. And or did black? Oh, black had the. It just wasn't an O'Hare. It had the bat god instead.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I was missing it. There were only 4 O'Hares, but the bat god is the same cycle.
Yeah. So rating wise, it's a 5. Over the Edge. 2 mana for 8, choose 1 sorcery, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Okay, I like that, stapled onto it. Target creature you control explores, then it explores again. For only 2 mana, I think that's okay.
Yeah, getting the free destroy target artifact or enchantment effect is pretty nice into your deck without having to dedicate a full card to it.
I think this card is fine. I'm kind of tempted to give it a 2.5.
Yeah. Double Explorer is fine, and I always like getting the free disenchant effects into your deck.
Yeah, there's quite a few creatures that are artifacts in this set, and I tend to like these in those set because it does kind of double as a extra piece of removal, which green often needs help with. And sometimes you don't, and you're the aggressor, and you can just double explore and get them. Pathfinding Axejaw. Why does he have spotlights on his head and chest?
He's a Pathfinder.
Who equipped you with this, sir?
Those guys behind him.
Oh my gosh. He's a working dinosaur.
Yeah.
And
he works hard. He works hard for his money.
4 mana for a 4/3 dino. When it enters the battlefield, it explores. Pretty simple. I think it's a filler card. I would say that this is just a 2 for me.
Yeah. These cards used to be much higher, and now they're 2s.
One of the cutest cards in the whole set, Poison Dart Frog, 2 mana for a 1/1 with Reach. Add 1 mana of any color. If you tap it, you can also pay 2. Poison Dart Frog gains Death Touch. I don't like it. Like, he's cute. I like that he's a mana rock. I'm willing to play him for that, but Reach doesn't make a ton of sense. And 2, to give it Death Touch is weird, because I feel like anything that eats the Poison Dart Frog should get poisoned. I shouldn't have to make it have poison. It's poisonous.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all agreed with that. I'm just trying to comprehend, like, I'm used to mana elves and, like, druids and birds, but now a mana frog? Like, that's just kind of weird. I don't know. I kind of like the Death Touch ability. It's threat of activation with reach. It only really costs 1 because you can use itself.
It's a poisonous frog. It has poison.
It's poison darts. Maybe it's got to like shoot the dart or something. I don't know.
I feel like I wanted to have poison and pay for the reach. It's fine. It's a mana rock.
That would be fair.
I'm playing it for the add mana of any color because any color is sweet. So for me, this card is a win. I think this is never getting cut. This is a 3.
Yep. I like it as a 3.
And it's very cute. Pugnacious Hammerskull. 3 mana for a 6/6. Whenever this attacks while you don't control another dinosaur, put a stun counter on it. But what if I do control another dinosaur? You're just going to give me a 6/6 for 3?
Yeah, that just screams reasonable.
In a set built around dinosaurs?
Thank God this is at least a rare.
Okay. I guess I'm going to die to this a lot.
Yeah.
Sure. Yep, sure. Just going to die. Rating wise, it's super high pressure. It's a 4.
Yeah.
Even if you don't have it, doming them for 6 on turn 4 every other turn from there on out is just not the worst.
Yeah, exactly.
River Herald Guide, 3 mana for a Merfolk Scout with Vigilance. It's a 3/1. When it enters the battlefield, it explores. 3 mana for a 4/2. It's pretty vanilla-y. It gets Vigilance, which is fine. You maybe get a card draw for the extra mana. Okay, this feels like a 2 to me.
Yeah, I'd rather it be a 1/3 with Vigilance than a 3/1. Because that way I can more likely to be able to attack freely and still have a blocker back.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like a 2.
Seeker of Sunlight. We got 1 mana for a 1/1. You can pay 3. Seeker of Sunlight Explorers. Activate only as a sorcery. I like that. You get Infinite Explore, which is card advantage over time, and it gets bigger and scarier. This is an okay card if you want to be aggressive. Or care about Merfolk.
And it's just a mana sink, right? It's a 1-drop that's not a dead draw late in the game. Still not a good draw, but no 1-drops really ever are, so.
Yeah. So I think if I care about Merfolk, if I'm short on 2-drops, like this is, you know, a 2-drop equivalent, I'm willing to put that in there. So rating-wise, I think this is a 2.
2, yep.
Sentinel of the Nameless City, 3 mana for a 3/4 with Vigilance. Whenever it enters the battlefield or attacks, create a map token, which allows you to tap and explore, so you're getting more value. 3 mana, 3/4, great rate. It's got Vigilance, fantastic. It's got some incremental value over turns. I think this is a very good card. I think this is just I think we need to reassess for the next set and do a 1 to 10 scale because the power creep is getting so weird that our 3 to 4 range is getting really chunky because there are no more 1s and 2s. They just don't exist. So everything has been condensed into this 3 to 4. So it's hard to distinguish the 5s apart or the 3.5s apart.
No, I agree.
So I do think that we do need to change the scale moving forward because this, you know, this is now surpassed the 3.5, but it's not a 4. So I don't know what to do with it. I'm going to call it a 4, but that is due to what is now a structure error for our format.
I'm going to say 3.5. It gets you some value. We just haven't seen a lot of support for like explore payoffs. Not that you need them, but I think it's a little bit less impactful than what I want a 4 to be. Yeah,
I agree. This is that same issue we had in Red, I believe, where there was a 3-drop that was incredibly great rate, efficient, and snowbally and value, and I rate those much higher because I really like those grindy value cards. And that is how I like to play Magic. So we do that is where we seem to be a half a point off on consistently.
I think that's how I like to play too as well. I just think that's not how Wizards wants you to play anymore. So I think they get worse.
Spelunking, 3 mana for an enchantment. When it ETBs, draw a card. Then you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. If you put a cave card into the battlefield this way, gain 4 life. Lands you control enter the battlefield untapped. No, thank you.
Nope.
No. I mean, draw a card and ramp. Like, it's kind of got the growth spiral vibe, right?
Yeah, but with more expensive and not at instant speed.
Yeah. If this was an artifact, surprisingly enough, if this was an artifact, I think I'd be game for this.
I don't know if I would play it, but I'd at least think about it, where I'm not even really thinking about this.
Staggering Size. 2 mana +3/+3 and gains trample until end of turn. It's a 2. It's a fine pump spell if you have room, but oftentimes these get cut just because they're no longer good enough.
So 2 mana 3/3 and trample. Do you like that better, or 2 mana 4/4? Like we see sometimes.
Titanic Strength.
Or Titanic Growth or whatever, yeah.
Yeah. Giant Growth, Titanic Strength, I think.
Yeah.
I think I would rather the trample. I feel
I
like,
agree.
especially in green where your creatures are already pretty big, oftentimes they're big enough. If you're using them for a combat trading situation, 3 is going to do the job. If you're using it for blocks and stuff. So 4 is just overkill, and I would like to get the extra chip damage in when I can.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just curious.
It's a good question. Tendril of the Myco Tyrant. 2 mana for a 2/2. You can pay 7. Put 7 +1/+1 counters on target non-creature land you control. It becomes a 0/0 fungus creature with haste. It's still a land. I like it. What?
Not until end of turn.
Yeah. So just poops out fungi. It's great. It's a bear with a late game mana sink that will kill your opponent.
He's a real party animal.
I don't get it.
He poops out fun guys.
Oh my god. I hate you, Yanks. It is. He is a fungi. That is true. Rating wise, I think this is awesome. I'm never cutting it. This is a solid 3.
Yeah, I like it as a 3 as well.
And honestly, it could play up depending on how slow the format is. If it's slow where making multiple 7/7s is reasonable, I think that'll be
better.
Yeah, for sure. It's just I'm hesitant to give it too much credit on the upside here because of being scarred for life by All Will Be One and a couple other formats that have just been too fast for this. I
mean, 2 mana 2/2 was too slow for All Will Be One.
Yeah. If your first play was on turn 2, you were dead.
Yeah.
If your first turn is turn 3, just might as well scoop.
But it's okay because they put all the old Praetors in the format just for fun.
The Skullpore Nexus. Sorry, team. We got 8 mana for a legendary artifact. This spell costs X less, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. So this is probably going to cost in green 4 mana. Whenever one or more non-token creatures you control dies, create a green fungus dinosaur creature token with base power toughness equal to the number of total power of those creatures. Huh. Double target creature's power until end of turn. Wow.
So you're getting a lot for this, especially if you're playing it for 4, like you said.
And it's not expensive. And you just make trades and then you just get new creatures.
Yeah.
That's some pretty hefty advantage for creatures and stuff. And it's not going to be expensive.
I mean,
even if you have a 3/3 and this is 5 mana, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, so you're right. You have a 3/3, you play this and attack with your 3/3, and if they want to trade, you now get another 3/3.
Yeah, and then it just also doubles their power if you need to trade up or hit them in the face. And it forces them to have to block you. They can't even try to get into a racing situation because you can just activate this and kill them.
Yeah, and the double effect then also helps make your new creature bigger. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
you
nuts.
when they do block, you double it even if it doesn't have trample, and then now you get a
Right.
giant thing.
Yeah.
Wow, this card is nuts. Is this a
Yeah.
5?
I feel like it is. Like, I feel like if this was on a creature, it might not be because they're pretty good chance they'll just kill it. They could just kill it right away, and you don't get any value. But yeah, I mean, in this case, it's an artifact. It's tougher for them to kill.
All
I
right,
think it
I'm gonna
is.
give this a 5. This is pretty nice. Thrashing Brontodon. Yes, this is a fantastic
Yep.
reprint. I love
Yep.
this card. 3 mana for a 3/4. Pay 1 sacrifice. Destroy an artifact or an enchantment. I'm always so sad when I have to sacrifice him because I love him because he's such a good boy. Great. 10 out of 10. This is a 5. Moving on. Realistically, this is a 3 now
Yeah.
because of reasons. But it's very good. I'm very excited that the good boy is back. Twists and turns. We've got a green for an enchantment. If a creature you control would explore, instead you scry. Then that creature explores. Okay, that's cool. When Twists and Turns enters the battlefield, target creature you control explores. So scry 1, explore. When a land enters the battlefield under your control, if you control 7 or more lands, transform Twists and Turns into a mycoid maze, whatever. Chat was torn on this.
Yeah.
It taps for a green. You can pay 4 and tap. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put that into your hand. Put the rest into the bottom in a random order.
Well, I actually kind of like this card. As long as you have a creature out when you play it and it doesn't die in response, you get 1 mana, scry 1, explore. And then it just sits there until you get the cave, which is pretty nice.
Yep. And you're likely going to have some other explorers. Green actually had a lot more than I was expecting, considering we didn't see it in blue. But green seems to be where the bulk of that is. So I think that for 1 mana, I'm happy with this. The backside is just a late game mana sink for card advantage, and you're getting some value up front with the scries. It's a slow and steady thing, but I think that this to me is a 2. I will try to put it in, but it will most likely get cut.
Yeah, for limited, the backside is like a better version of Search for Azcanta because you're easier to hit creatures. It costs 1 more to activate, but it's not a rare either. So
there was a bear in one of the sets. It was a 4 mana 2/3 bear that could pay 4 to look at the top X or whatever, however many it was, and get a creature. And I liked that ability, and I liked the late game card draw reach to keep my hand full, to give me something to do in that like late mid game. And so this is a similar ability, but I'm less impressed with the front side of this.
Yeah, that's fair. And green is probably the color that needs mana sinks the least. Since it's got so many big things to spend mana on. But yeah, I like it as a 2. If you've got a lot of explore, then maybe it gets bumped up to a 2/5 in that deck.
But green doesn't have a lot of card draw, right? So they in that way, they kind of do need this type of mana sink.
Sure.
So I'm into it, but you have to have a little bit of explore to make it valuable. So it's a 2 that I will likely cut, but I will always want to play.
Yeah, and this is another one that's going to be dependent on how fast that format is.
Yeah, I feel like the front side's just a little too low impact for me to be excited about it.
Yeah, it is kind of mopey.
Walk with Ancestors. 5 mana, return up to 1 target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. Discover 4. I like this Discover.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 5 mana 2-for-1.
Yeah, this is what green wants to be doing when it's trying to get cards back. So I think that this is fine. Yeah, this is a good rate, I think. It's still, I tend to cut these cards in green, but I think it's a good card. So probably, I don't know, it's probably a 2/5, but I'll still cut it a bunch.
Yeah, it's a little mixed for me because this set feels like green is going to be bigger even than it usually is. So the permanent card you're going to get back is better. But also that makes Discover 4 worse if most of your good things are like 5 or 6 mana.
Yeah, but eventually you'll hit something.
Yeah, I mean, you'll hit something. Yeah, how good is it? So yeah, I think I like it at 2/5. Again, you're probably only playing one of them though, if at all.
All right, that is the end of green. Yanks, what do you think?
Green seemed large. It didn't seem that interesting. But that's green sometimes, right? It just got very large creatures.
They fit.
And efficient ones. Yeah.
For those of you guys who are watching on YouTube, thank you so much. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and let us know in the comments below what ones you think we got wrong. Respectfully, of course. That's it for now. We'll see you next time for the colorless and then multicolor. See you guys next time.
Capybara. 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 Capybara.